Welcome to Foundations with Larisa Hovannisian, an unfiltered podcast where I explore the foundational principles of creators, entrepreneurs, scientists, public figures, and all around awesome people who make things happen. Welcome back to Foundations with Larisa Hovannisian. Today I'm joined by a remarkable duo, Lou and Pegor Papazian, the visionaries behind TUMO, Armenia's world-renowned creative tech center for kids. Through their bold approach to self-learning, imagination, and access, they've literally transformed education for tens of thousands of students in Armenia and beyond. Their personal and professional partnership reflects a deep commitment to unlocking the potential of every child through innovation. In this episode, we will explore the foundations of their journey, how they built something entirely new, and what it takes to imagine the future while staying rooted in purpose. Thank you both so much for being here with me today. My big goal with this podcast is to show the world how amazing we are in Armenia without sounding very arrogant. And that's why a lot of the content that I do is actually in English. I think it's really time for us to show the world what we're capable of and what's actually happening on the ground in Armenia. And I think, for you to specifically, as the people behind TUMO, TUMO has already done that in many ways across the world by launching these incredible TUMO centers and really taking Armenia, I think, with them to this global space. But I'd love to just go back to the early days. How did this whole thing happen? You started TUMO, I think, at a time when these kinds of things were not really happening in Armenia. I'm sure that there were a lot of conspiracy theories around what was actually going on and the purpose of all these things. But it's been incredible and really just like an honor to see it all kind of happen over the years. And I think none of it really would have been possible if it wasn't for the both of you. So would just love to hear your story about how it all happened and what you had to go through to get to where you are.
Sometimes Pegor say, do you want to hear the long version or the short version?
This is a long format interview. We can do a long version.
Yeah, I give always the long version.
That's my
we go back a long time, back in 96, 97, when Pegor and I started working on an educational project using technology and using the internet as a platform where we saw a lot of potential and when for the first time we connected with Armenia. We are both from Lebanon. Back then we were in Barcelona, moving to Los Angeles. Right on the verge of moving to Los Angeles, we started an educational project that at the end led us. We started first coming to Armenia in 1997, which, like all the diasporans, we fell in love with Armenia. We got that virus in our blood. Even when we went back to LA or Barcelona, it was all, we were already taken by the idea of there is Armenia, there is this amazing place where we need to go back, we need to connect, we need to work with more. And of course, not forgetting the diaspora. But when in 2005, we moved to Armenia, and that was pure coincidence. We got an email that there was a opportunity to apply for a job at the U.S. Embassy. I asked Pegor if he's interested. He said yes, even though we were never part of that kind of jobs or positions. We found ourselves in Armenia in 2005. We moved to Armenia in the middle of the winter, left behind LA, Shamlian School, everything, with 5 kids. And we had, of course, done the project connecting Armenian schools with the Armenian schools in the diaspora, have worked here quite intensively with the Armenian educational system, the Ministry of Education. So we were aware of all the players. Back then, there were very few. That's when we got an email from Sam saying he has seen our work. We had a great website. We had stopped that work when we moved to Armenia because of funding, because of the big move also. And it was a very interesting moment when we had never met Sam. So we got this email saying, I have seen your work. I'm very interested. Can you go and see the building I'm building? And can you give us some idea? I have these ideas of converting it to an educational youth center. So us...
so this is
2006 March. We moved to Armenia 2005 March, right after 1 year.
Yeah, that's right.
2006 March. I remember it was March 8th when we went to the building. It was under construction. The roof was not built.
On Women's Day.
Yes.
How appropriate.
Yes. And before that, we kept thinking, Pegor and I, what if we take this idea of what we have been doing with the Armenian school, but have a space for it, a real physical space. And that's when we got this email from Sam. And it was like...
It all came together.
Yeah, dream come true. Both our backgrounds are in construction. Pegor have done architecture, then computer science. I have done engineering, construction management. And here we are like I would call it a virgin building, concrete, nothing in it, looking for ideas. It was amazing.
Did you already have your background in education, though? Because you did. Okay,
yes,
yeah. Because you went to Columbia.
Yes.
School of
While I
Education.
was doing that project, the first project in education, everybody will ask me, especially in the diaspora, the schools, your background. So I kept going back and forth, and then finally I did my master's degree at Columbia University in Education and Technology, Teachers College. Which was very interesting because I was the only one from not background in education.
Yeah.
Everybody was either a principal or a teacher or IT in a school or
and you were an
something
engineer.
Yes. But I was the only one who have done a project and
interesting.
knew how things work, what you need to do, how can you use the internet, the technology. It was very interesting. So when we went to the building...
And Pegor is having an embassy career at this moment?
USAID. I was
Yes.
the project development officer at USAID.
I see.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we went and visited the
RIP.
building, and it was an amazing. It was we still call it like a soccer field, huge, empty. So we started dreaming, and we wrote this document called Imagine. Back then, it was not called TUMO. There was no Simonian Educational Foundation. We called it a youth center, and we called the document Imagine. And we imagined scenarios of young people coming to this space, and what would they do? And it was a lot combining the ideas or the project that we have done, but with a physical space. So right away, Sam and Silva wrote to us saying, this is what we were thinking about, and this is along the lines that we had.
More specifically, they said, what are you doing this weekend? Can you come to Dallas?
Yes. And we took...
I know that line because something similar happened to us, yes.
Yeah.
And we took a few days off, and we went together to Dallas, and we met them for the first time. And it clicked right away, like it was obvious. And then he told me, I see that you have a background in construction. Can you help me finish the building? Because the building was not built yet. That was even
And construction in Armenia
construction
is
in Armenia.
on a whole other level.
Yes. construction in Armenia. It was very scary. He first told me, you just have to write the reports. Okay, that's nice. I went. I don't know what I was supposed to write because nothing was happening. It was happening, but it was very different from what I knew because I had worked in New York, very fast-track projects. I have done my master's in construction management in New York, so I knew how things move, and it was not moving. So that was the second move we did together. We suggested to Sam to go and start shopping for architects and understanding what we want to do. And when we went on a very nice trip to Barcelona, because we had connections to Beirut, and we finally ended up working with Bernard, who was the right fit because he was
Khoury, the Lebanese architect.
Because he was talking the same language. Like the space was very important as an educational.
And at this point, is it technology oriented?
Yes.
Or okay.
Yes. Actually, his words, I remember, he said, my thesis at Harvard was about how to use, how to sit in front of a computer. Does it have to be a chair and a table? What does it mean? How is the environment? And his thesis was about that.
Wow.
And we discovered back then that Bernard is half Armenian. His mother is Armenian.
I didn't know that.
Simonian.
Really?
Yes.
Any connection or no? No connection.
But Simonian, architect. His mother, she's still alive. She came to Armenia several times, and he had never been to Armenia back then. He was fascinated by the stories that his mother was telling him, the research that she has done. She was one of the first women architect in Lebanon who married an architect, Lebanese architect. She was famous for being a woman, very up and running, and he had a lot of respect. And the fact that he wanted to combine these two, his Armenianness also drive him to take this project. Even though I remember his word, he said, I'm not an interior designer. The building was built already, like the structure.
He asked us, can we change the facade? We said,
can we demolish the building?
can we rebuild it?
I'm not an interior architect, but he managed, and he came up with the whole idea of, and he was very flexible. It
doesn't feel disjointed, though. Like for those of us who've been in the center, it feels.
No, but a lot of people say when we come from outside, we don't know what we're going to encounter inside, which is very interesting. So he understood what we really wanted. We had back and forth a lot of meetings with Sam Silva, the look he wanted. I remember Silva saying always, I want color, and he was black and white. He kept insisting the most important are the students.
They'll bring the color.
They bring the color, yes. Where they are the color, their screens are the color, no decoration. Until now, we respect all that. No decoration. We have everything is temporary. The most important are the students. And the fact that they feel comfortable in a space, and they want a space that is lasting, not temporary for them, was the most important part.
And the space reflects kind of our pedagogy, right?
Yes.
The transparency, the flexibility, and everything else.
The moving, the being able to move around.
Right. You can move furniture closer together, etc.
Yeah, I mean, I was just
Yes.
there, and I was on the second floor, and there's like this entire new space built
Yes.
in the hallway.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
Which I'm sure
Yes.
can be dismantled
Yes.
within a
Yes.
second and
Yes.
moved around.
And also, I mean, it's also part of giving teenagers the agency to determine their own kind of process, learning process, and not to patronize them. So realize that doing colors and decorations would be like treating them like kids, whereas what they wanted is more like the iPhone aesthetic of slick and black and red.
And yeah.
And I think that was a
and
good
the
choice.
bleacher and the installation space was very important because from day one we wanted to celebrate, empower, celebrate the results of the student. We wanted to have community lectures, space for them to use, and we do it. The cinema was very important. Now it's difficult to get to the cinema, but it's still open to the public on Fridays. So all that was very, and we went back and forth. We gave him the document. He met with Sam and Silva to understand their vision, what they want. So it took a while because
How long did it take?
it took a while until we built the whole thing and we opened the doors in 2011. So I started 2006. Pegor was working volunteer, helping me, but it was not only about building TUMO space. It was completing the building with the landscape, the parking space, the upper floors. You had to build the entire infrastructure to make only these 2 floors functional. You could not just build the 2 floors. So that was quite difficult.
What you all did and set a new standard for, apart from the building being something I think Armenia hadn't seen before, and especially our kids haven't seen coming from the schools that they were in, was that you first thought about what would happen in the building and then built a building around that concept.
That's right. So this document imagined the concept that we wrote, which is surprisingly similar to what TUMO is now. It's changed in some ways, but not much. It was all about tracing the journey of a student, their experience to TUMO. So we were back from the student experience, the learner experience, to build the curriculum, the software, the environment, the physical environment. And I think that paid off.
The freedom and all that. So it was very important. And so it's like you want to build your home and you have a very clear vision of how you want it. And even if you do not have 5 kids, how is this home going to be able to have 5 kids when they grow up? What will happen and all that? So it was very important for us to, and we were very lucky to have this opportunity to build the space that we wanted.
Yeah, it's amazing and almost uncanny, like how similar some of these things have been for us. I mean, on a different scale, but the first plan I sent Sam he said was crap. So he like tore it apart. And then I wrote a document, something like Imagine, but for Teach for Armenia. And I sent it to him and to Silva. And I got one sentence back and it said, "This is great. When can you come to Dallas?" And what you said, Pegor, really resonates with me because I actually we celebrated our 10-year anniversary a couple of weeks ago, and you guys were there, which was great, and it was really nice to look back together on all these years. But I was looking through all my old folders, and I read through that email chain. I looked at the attachment, and it's funny. It's like a lot of it is what is happening right now. A lot of what was written in that document is a lot of what's happening now. And so, yeah, I think just hearing you say that is, I guess Sam has a knack for finding these things and helping them
and
scale.
trusting you
and the
letting
leadership
you
and the leadership,
take leadership.
giving you a lot of freedom, but at the same time supporting you
100%.
and being on your side. Those years were hard in construction, in opening a foundation, in starting to build the minimum staff we needed.
And with Simon Silva, we very quickly recruited a very strong advisory board. And so we brought on people from like the top tech and design and video game institutions in the US. At that time, they were all Armenians, diaspora Armenians. David Yan, I guess, was the closest thing to a local Armenian, the Chinese Armenian entrepreneur. And that, with them, we kind of developed, or as we were developing the content and all the directions, they were making sure that they kept us honest and they kept us kind of leading edge, the latest. And so that was also gave us the luxury of having 1 year to develop that as the building was being completed. And so when we opened the doors, we were ready.
You were ready.
And I remember Seymour Papert came and visited Armenia back then with Jacqueline. And we were in the middle of construction. So we put a huge white cloth.
Tablecloth.
And we did a
like
projection on it.
Like
and
a screen.
we talked about how students will move around, what will be the curriculum, how we're going to, what it is. And he kept saying, this is a school, this is the future of education. And I remember clearly saying, no, it's not a school. It's an after-school program. And he kept saying, you're way ahead of your time.
Yeah.
This is how you should imagine your school. You're pioneering all this. It's amazing. And he gave us, we still have that video. He supported us so much that was unbelievable.
Was this Armenian identity component, was it ever part of your discussion, or was it just something that you felt like was going to happen organically as you built out the model?
It's interesting that our mission was very much Armenia oriented, but we didn't feel that we needed to infuse specific Armenian content, but rather make sure that the teenagers had the values and the skills to be able to notice the value of their own culture, of their own identity. So in a way, empowering them to see what they have and to appreciate it and to build on it. And it was great to see that it actually worked out well, in the sense that we weren't telling them, make films about Armenian identity or anything like that, but eventually they would gravitate to that. They would start, recording their, family environment, their culture environment. When there was a font design workshop, they would immediately gravitate towards Armenian fonts, right? And that wasn't something that was forced, but it was really, music. Tumbata, the Armenian folk rock band that came out of TUMO. None of that was dictated, but it came out naturally because we were giving these kids the space to explore their own interests, their own life experiences.
Well, it never works when it's forced, right?
Right. When it's the opposite, right?
Yeah. And when they do anything in English, you just let them do it, and then they will discover the Armenian part. You create the opportunities, like, for example, 3D scanning. Once you create an opportunity like that, it's very interesting. They are discovering their own culture. And getting attached to it.
And it's interesting, but when we started going abroad, obviously internationally, that became an interesting tension. Are we an Armenian organization?
Yeah, I was going to ask you that.
Yeah. It worked out really well in the sense that, first of all, one of the design criteria of TUMO was a reaction against the kind of Soviet-era characteristics that the Armenian education system had back then, when we first started. Then it turned out all school systems around the world are a little bit Soviet. So that translated well. It turned out that teenagers have more in common by virtue of being teenagers than any national identity differences. But also Armenia has always been a little bit like part of our cultural DNA is about education and science, like really like cerebral, right?
Music.
Creativity, music. And so that kind of a nerd republic aspect of Armenia translated very well when we exported, because STEM and design and stuff were valued. So it worked out well. Our focus and our mission was very Armenia specific, but it ended up being a very universal in that sense.
And you have many international centers now, right? I mean, how many countries is TUMO in right now?
We have a dozen, maybe 13 centers abroad, but that number is increasing. So that will double in the next year and a half with the signed contracts we have of new centers. So it's growing fast.
And yes, for example, being able to do this in India is going to be a huge experience for us. Very interesting.
We're going to open in Mumbai in November.
That's amazing.
We just opened in Japan. So we're testing the boundaries of that universality.
And different masses.
Yeah.
But I mean, in my experience, I've traveled to so many countries that have a similar program to Teach for Armenia through this global network that we're part of called Teach for All. And I think you're absolutely right. Kids are kids everywhere. And great teachers are great teachers. Like, they're pretty much doing the same thing to be great teachers all over the world. I think obviously there's contextual nuances and so on and so forth, but I think a great educational model could be great probably in most places as long as it's built for kids, which is what I have heard you say over and over again. Like, the priority has always been what's best for kids, from how the building is supposed to be designed to what is supposed to be taught in the center. Have you noticed a shift in Armenia in terms of how kids are learning, how they're taking in this knowledge? Is there a progress, a regress? Is it just different?
A lot of progress. A lot of. I remember the first time we called for a meeting with the parents. The parents were surprised, like, why are you, what do you want from us?
And you're talking about good things,
yes,
right?
Yes.
Not just bad things.
We send our kids to school. That's your responsibility. What are we going to talk about? It was very, very interesting. And for me, it was very strange that because during the Soviet Union, it was, I give you my kid to the school and they're in charge. That's their responsibility. And then I take it back. Or I take them back, not it. But it changed a lot. I remember this last parents meetings we had a few months ago. It was amazing. Like in Yerevan, there was no space. Like, we were not expecting this many parents coming and asking questions and caring and even asking, how can we participate? What can we support? What can we do? What are your plans? What do you think? When are you going to open a school? It's very interesting how things have evolved, and it's very clear that the kids also. I think I always say the same thing. I think the kids today are more intelligent than before because they're open to a lot of resources and opportunities. And the more you give, the more you create these opportunities, the better they develop. I don't believe that they are not interested in learning and continuing their education. Once, if it's interesting for them, and if you respect them, and if you treat them as adults, you will see that they are far beyond your expectations. Here in Armenia and beyond. Same happened in Paris. Everybody said that Paris will, you don't know the kids in Paris. They were exactly the same as in Yerevan. They're very interested, very devoted, very up to, they will not leave. They will stay long hours. They are continuing everything at home. So I think kids merit all this, and we need to give them even the best of the best. From the details to the content to the environment to the best of learning lab leaders. Our learning lab leaders yesterday, I was giving a tour, and one of the learning labs that came from LA, he said, I have been here in Armenia for 3 weeks. I prefer to be here with the kids than going and visiting Armenia and spending my time in bars or something else. I got the best satisfaction ever, which is so
there's nothing
satisfying.
better than
that. He said I had the most amazing time with these amazing kids. They're one better than the other, and I am looking forward to come back next year.
That's incredible.
So, and then those are Armenian and non-Armenians.
Right.
The
because
satisfaction.
your lab workshop leaders are coming from all over the world.
Yeah, we had about 100 and something lab leaders come from
Every
abroad every year.
Volunteering their
Volunteering
time.
the 2 weeks of their time at least, some more.
Wow,
we
I
have
didn't know that
many-
was
Oh, yeah.
volunteering.
But it's
Yeah.
volunteering. It's
We,
free.
we cover their travel and lodging,
Yeah.
but they volunteer their time.
Yeah, they volunteer their time. Some have been here for 10 times. Non-Armenians, 10 times.
I also saw recently you had this great social media campaign of workshop lab leaders coming back, and then collecting like how many TUMOs can
Yes.
they go to, how many TUMOs can they teach at in Armenia. I'm assuming also in other centers around the
Yes.
world. So it's really great. I think, one thing I think about, and maybe people don't see educational organizations like TUMO. I hope they do, because I think that's exactly how Armenia builds leverage, how it builds value for the world. And I think we need to just keep doing it and doing more of it, and not settle for the standards that we have in Armenia, but standards that we think are possible and therefore are also possible here. So I think you guys have really push that forward, and not by saying it, by literally just doing it, which I think is rare, unfortunately. I think there's more of it happening now, thanks to TUMO and other projects that have showed that it is possible to change. Yeah. When you think of, you said this and you were very clear, this is an after school program. You have worked with the educational system here. How have you experienced that, over the years? Has there been a lot of resistance? Have there been a lot of questions? Is there a desire to kind of bring TUMO into the system more? And how do you think about it? Because that's a strategy and a principle that I think you all have.
I think we always had this vision that we are complementing the school system, and that's very powerful. The more we see the educational system in Armenia changing and developing and excelling, the more we have challenges to complement that and give them the top or the upper layer. So we see ourselves as following in parallel the educational system and complementing always. And while we're complementing, we indirectly pushing them to change also, which is a very healthy relationship between us and the Armenian educational system. So let's say in AI, if they start, or they're starting already to develop AI curriculum in the educational system or at school, what we have to do is not to do the basics, but to go and challenge ourselves to complement that with a more ambitious and sophisticated and different levels also, depending on the level of the students. So this is a very healthy relationship between us and the educational system.
Pegor, I know I've been following your posts on LinkedIn, and you are doing a lot of deep thinking and work on the AI front. What's going on? Tell us about it. I mean, everyone's freaking out.
We think AI can and will be disruptive. Of course, like any great technology, it's going to bring a lot of prosperity and allow people to leverage their talents, etc. But in the meantime, it's going to be challenging for society in general, and we have to be ready for it. We sometimes talk at TUMO about this metaphor of, there's an alien spaceship coming. It's going to land in about a year.
on top of TUMO.
On top of TUMO. How should we prepare for this? Right? However, we think that the only way to be ready for that challenge is to prepare and to know AI, to master AI, to become super users. And we don't want to make the mistake of focusing on either end of the spectrum of, let's say, just AI literacy, awareness, being able to be a sophisticated consumer, not
like
being
an implementer of whatever exists.
That's not enough, probably. Yeah. It's also not the case that everybody should become an AI engineer, especially these days. It's so complicated and so specialized that it's not about forming an elite of, 100 AI engineers. We need an army, let's say, or a very large number of super users of AI. And so we're putting the emphasis on having kids who are very sophisticated in their understanding of how you train an AI system, how they work, how you use it in any profession or discipline or project that you're working on, whether it's filmmaking, coding, or whatever it may be, game development, how to sort of bend AI to your will to make it an instrument of your self-expression, your projects, and so on. And so our goal is to literally have Armenian teenagers or teenagers in places where there are TUMO centers. Be
TUMO teenagers.
TUMO teenagers, TUMO teens.
That's a new national identity.
To be the most sophisticated AI users on the planet. That's our goal. And so this, the adage of AI is not going to take your job. Somebody who knows how to use AI will take your job. In our phrase, it's some Armenian kid who knows AI very well is going to take your job. That's our goal.
I kind of like that. Has it fundamentally shifted what you're teaching or no?
Not the what, but the how, definitely.
Yes.
I mean, we're infusing AI in all our focus areas, we call them, from graphic design to filmmaking to you name it,
creative
robotics,
writing.
creative writing, definitely.
Oh,
But also introducing...
that's a tough one.
Yeah.
Actually, AI, yeah. Look, if you use AI in a smart way in creative writing, you can really level up your abilities. But by the same token, if you use it responsibly, it's going to kind of dumb down your creative thinking,
You
your
will be
analytical
equal
thinking.
to anyone.
Yeah, there's no difference between you and some other person using AI, right? So those are the skills.
I was doing an online course with INSEAD on how AI is transforming businesses and organizations. It was interesting. And one of the professors said, whatever you decide to outsource to AI right now is a skill that you're going to lose over time in the next, 7 to 10 years. Do you agree with that?
I agree with that, and I think we should embrace that. I think we should start working at a higher level of abstraction. So just like, I don't know how to do long-form division anymore. You know, where you draw those two lines and...
Yeah.
And it's okay.
It was like grilled into our brain during the Soviet school system.
But I don't need to. I work at a higher level. I do interesting things with math, but it doesn't involve that. So I think we need to be very actively going to these higher levels of abstraction in terms of what we do and being okay with outsourcing some of that to AI. We're not good at navigating using the stars anymore. Like maybe our distant ancestors were. It's okay. It's going to be fine.
That's a good
we have to
analogy.
assume that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm a big fan of AI because I studied AI at MIT. I was part of the MIT AI lab. That was a long time ago. It was classic AI. But I think that we should approach it with trepidation and with a lot of enthusiasm. And my favorite characterization is Nubar Afeyan's paranoid optimism. That's the right attitude towards it.
That's good. And so going back to this question around the education system and what you as TUMO, what you're doing and what you're learning, I mean, I think the gap is being exacerbated again between what educational system's doing, not only in Armenia, by the way, everywhere, versus what is actually happening in reality. Like, what would you say, or what should we do if we're working in the system, we're looking at these public schools, in Armenia, across the world, what should we be not doing anymore and doing very urgently to maximize the super users, maximize and really prepare? I think, especially for us in Armenia, our kids are up against so much, existentially speaking. We don't have the luxury of not figuring this out quickly and using it to our advantage. So as the people who I think are the greatest thinkers behind AI right now, honestly, from an educational perspective in Armenia, what should we be looking at?
I think we need to, of course, all the pedagogical, fundamental thinking is still there. Nothing has changed. How the brain learns, how you evolve, how you develop, how you learn. Those are rules and guidance for us to follow, but being able to embrace and understand and take advantage of what could be done in order to even enhance better our educational system in Armenia or wherever is what is important. And to think ahead, not be afraid of saying, oh, will there be teacher or will there not be teacher? Will there be books or not? Should we teach math or not? You need to work with all the scenarios and be ready and definitely follow up with everything that is happening, because that will give you insights of in which direction it's going and how you're going to bend it and to take advantage of it and use it in the educational system. I don't believe that in 10 years or 20 years, I don't know, or 5 years, kids will be born and there is no need to
go to school.
Yeah. But how are they going to go to school? What that will mean? What are they learning? How are they learning? What are the social aspects? What are the roles? What are the resources? That's going to very quickly change. And you need to be ready for that without being afraid of it and to use it in your advantage.
I agree. And I almost think that Armenia actually has a chance to do that faster than other countries that maybe are more sophisticated in some ways. Like I was in the UK recently and I met with politicians specifically working in, education departments and school principals, etc. I mean, some of their responses were kind of shocking to me. It's like, we forbid it.
Yep.
It's not we're not doing it. It's not going to happen.
Right.
And I'm just like, I don't know. it is happening though, And so then I think maybe countries like the UK that have been so sophisticated and complex and with their policies and mechanisms and content and all the, and it's all so regulated and thought through. And maybe a country like Armenia that has a lot of stuff there, obviously, but a lot of stuff is still being, created. Maybe we have a bigger actually opportunity to adapt, to bring this in and then to accelerate.
I think that's right. And I think that things are moving quickly enough and there's so many unknowns that I would recommend thinking about the attitude and values with which you approach this rather than having like set answers of this is what you should be doing. So a good mix of ambition and humility, because you have to be ambitious. You can't wait for somebody else to give you a solution, especially not in this case. So I think Armenia is as well positioned as anybody else to invent the future of learning in the age of AI. Because it's not like, you're right, people in the UK or the US have any answers. Also, they have a lot of vested interests, so they're trying to cater to not disrupting the school system and introducing AI somehow, and that's not going to work. But also humility, because we have to make sure that we're always questioning how we're doing it and always looking at best practices.
Yeah. We're not just like deciding that this is it and then kind of like
that's
sitting.
That's right, because it can and will change very quickly. So even at TUMO, for example, as we write this, we used to write much more robust documents around our curriculum and lesson plans and so on. We're not doing that anymore. Now we're writing almost processes by which you're going to create these workshops and the content, because that process is going to help you, but the content itself is probably not going to, it wasn't worth writing it in that much detail. It's going to change next month, right? So shifting the attitude from solutions to attitudes, processes, systems that will be adaptable, I think that's the key. It's hard to do, but I think
fundamental values.
Right. What are the core values that you want to, like Mary Lou was saying, you want to make sure you believe in, they're not going to change. But then everything else should not be too codified. So even the format of educational standards needs to change. It can't be you need to do like 2 equations with 2 unknowns anymore. It has to be at another level. But it's hard. It's going to be
That's fascinating. So if you were the Minister of Education of any country, you would change your national standards and objectives, which you know how they're formatted primarily.
Yes. It's very hard to do, but that's what it's going to take. Change those and change their format, not their content. So instead of saying, now it has to be about AI literacy. No, it doesn't. It has to be about the standards. It has to be about these are the bodies, processes, mechanisms that's setting in place so that we can react to whatever's coming, rather than this is what kids need to learn. Because that's going to change.
That's fascinating. And it enables so much ownership then to the person, to the administrator, to the principal, to the teacher, and to the student, most importantly.
Empowering at the grassroots level.
I already see a little bit of change. A few months ago, it was, no. Now I see a change.
Even in the ministry.
Yes, there is a change. There is an openness. There's actually like quite a bit of dialogue happening. I'm sure you're part of these conversations too. And that's why I am so happy about that, because I don't think we need to know exactly the answer, because maybe we won't, but we need to be in this process, because it's changing and it's adapting so quickly. I was talking to Rev recently, who I know is one of your great advisors. And we were talking about this. I mean, the news about the AI factory wasn't out yet at that point, but he sort of hinted that we really need to rethink from an educational perspective, from an education system perspective, what kind of skill set we actually need, and to meet the demands of the fourth industrial revolution. And now that this AI factory is being built and we all know about it, we had another conversation offline about it. And a lot of what he was saying was, we need great electricians, we need great plumbers, we need great mechanical engineers. And is that also making you think about like the content at TUMO, or are you gonna, are these kinds of fundamental shifts? Because AI is great, but then powering AI is also something we need to think about, the back end. Is that something you all are thinking about?
We've always leaned towards Armenia being sort of away from vocational education, right? So I'm sure, yes, we do need plumbers, we do need electricians, but we've never thought of ourselves as kind of catering to the job market. We're like, want to build the fundamentals. So even if you're an electrician or a plumber, are you a plumber who knows how to use design tools? is how we think about it.
For the first time also, we're working on culinary curriculum, which is not similar to electrician, but it is. It's
analog.
Analog.
You're building something in Gyumri, right?
Yes, and we're working on how to design the curriculum. And what does it mean? It's not about, repetition and just theory, but how can we build better cooks, which is a little bit similar. If we crack,
because it's a trade. It's a trade.
It's a trade. It's but it has a lot of creativity in it. It has a lot of decision making, sense, and it's very interesting. It's very different than teaching programming, for example. But it's still how can you open the minds of the students? How can you connect dots? How can you give them feedback that is not just theory, but they understand it? And how can you use AI and the tools today? There are now new methods of following your movements and on the spot telling you if anything is wrong or going into the wrong direction. It's very interesting that those things, if you have help like that, and at the same time you make your own decisions. Let's say you're cooking something or you're melting something, and someone from above is telling you, be careful, it's too hot, or the color is not right, or whatever.
Or in Armenia, add salt.
Yes.
Add salt to the soup.
It's not telling you what to do, but it's supporting you and making suggestions on the spot.
That's interesting.
That it is very, very, very interesting. And that could be then maybe if we if we are successful, maybe we can move that to electrician and other things.
So you're basically saying that there's really going to be nothing that's not touched by AI.
That's right, especially in learning them. Now, at some point, AI extended to robots will be able to fix your bicycles and you do your plumbing as well. So we shouldn't be complacent about that either. I think we should always be ready to learn to be productive and fulfilled in a world in which machines do stuff for us. And so always be able to have that learning instinct, lifelong learning instinct.
Yeah.
That's what's most important.
I see what you're saying. So, I mean, AI is what's happening now, right? But like what you're saying, Pegor and Marilu, you're also saying in your own way, it's about preparedness for whatever is happening in this world. Right. A lot of it is technological, but it could take on different formats and versions, and we can't even know what some of that is going to be. That's but the most important thing we can do for our kids today is to give them the foundational skills to be able to meet whatever is coming, wherever it's at. And
so that skill set includes things like attitudes, self-confidence, socio-emotional skills. That's what it's going to take.
Yeah, it's very interesting. At TUMO, we always talk about the soft skills. And a TUMO student that went through several workshops and learning labs, that confidence they have, the way they set goals, the way they work together, the way they make decisions, the way they compare themselves to others, the way they work in a group that a 12-year-old and a 16-year-old is mixed, and each one is bringing their own knowledge or value to the table. It's very interesting. At the end of the day, it's not only fundamental what they learned, but all those skills.
How they learn it.
Yes, all those skills and the process that gives them the courage to continue by themselves. And that's what we want.
The question I get asked always is, well, what do you think ultimately AI is not going to be able to do that a human will be able to do that we should just keep nurturing within humans? Yeah. I think it's a silly question a little bit.
Not silly, but you're right. It's not.
It's how do you answer it?
Well, I like to talk about this paradox of AI can teach you what you don't need to learn. In other words, the more things in order to teach you how to fix a bicycle, and AI has to be able to master that. But once it's mastered it, why would you learn it? The robot can fix the bicycle. So it's always this kind of upward spiral of AI being able to be like Khan Migo, right? The Khan Academies being able to teach you math. They're teaching you the math that you precisely will not need because they'll do it for you, right? And so, yes, looking for that thing that AI will never be able to, I agree, is not the right way to think.
We talked about the creative part. For example, what we talked about, languages, programming languages, and the naming and all that. It's so interesting.
Are there professions that you're like looking at now and saying, kids shouldn't go into this? Like you said, robot will do this.
Yes. We are assuming that that you shouldn't focus on professions. You should focus on life projects. What is it you want to achieve? If that's what you focus on, then so what do you want to give to society? What do you want to give to your community? What ambitions do you have for yourself? That framing allows you to then decide how much of it are you going to delegate to the machines, AI, technology. Your goal was to achieve something, not to become ex-employee or ex-professional, right? Once you frame it that way, it starts becoming about these higher order sort of power skills, and not about whether you can code in Python or not, because that may not be relevant, right?
And even in cooking, for example, if AI is helping you, there's still so much space and opportunities for you to invent things, which is the satisfaction, right? Otherwise, we just go to restaurants and eat. Why do we cook at home, or why do we test things, or why do we? That satisfaction of creating something I don't think we will be satisfied if everything is created by AI.
I think this
human
is-
being is
yeah.
like that.
This is, I think, the biggest issue actually between the way schools are set up primarily all around the world, including in Armenia, and the type of person you need to be, I think, to be successful in a very changing world. I mean, the Industrial Revolution set up these people who would do exactly what you just said. They have a skill set. They know that they're going to work in one company for the next 50 years. And then that's it. And then the next generation comes and the same thing happens. Our schools are mostly still, and universities, by the way, are primarily built around this logic. The cosmetic changes, the innovations, yes, very nice. But fundamentally, I don't think that shift has happened yet. And that's why, like, some of my questions were about that. I think now that you articulated this, like, I can also say that the biggest gap and the difference in the models isn't so much the textbooks or the subjects, but the type of person we're trying to nurture through these schools. And so what you're talking about is a person who's inventive, creative, a builder.
Ambitious.
That's ambitious. Like, that's a very certain type of person, a creator.
Yeah.
But most of our school systems, even again, going back to the UK, super great schools that I went to, and teachers were, strong, but a lot of it was like factory, 3 minutes for this, 5 minutes for this, And I actually was trained as an educator through the system. And then I think I went back and saw it again, and I was like, oh my God, this is not right.
Yeah.
This doesn't feel right anymore, because I think it's stifling the ultimate thing that we need to be building within our kids now.
But it's tough. It's a political issue. The fundamental changes that schools will be forced and universities forced to undergo. It's going to be difficult to legislate that, because a lot of it is enshrined in law, right? It's, the law requires that you have these educational standards, and that you send your kid to school.
Communities relied on it.
Yeah, and people assume that was the social contract with these communities. And so when we talk about our walk-away pedagogy, it's all about, if kids could walk away from school without any consequences, how would schools have to change to have them come back? That's a tough transition to do for today's school systems.
When you look at this, not to get too political, but when you look at our region, is anything like this happening in our neighboring countries? This kind of education, this kind of thinking?
Not that we're aware of, no. But we look hard. I mean, we spend a lot of time looking at what everyone's doing. We don't focus on the region. We look at more globally, but we would have noticed if something was happening locally. But globally, it's not happening a lot too. There's some pockets of excellence and exploration, but overall, even introducing AI into schools, it's like the horseless carriage metaphor, right? They're trying to, instead of reimagining school, they're trying to bring AI into schools to do the same thing they've always done, but now with this new technology.
With this new technology, yeah.
Even in Singapore or those countries that we know they're quite advanced, we haven't seen a huge shifts in educational system. It's more about the organized and step by step.
It's like AI is the new calculator.
Yeah. But we worry about that a lot in terms of how we approach that. We don't want to be arrogant or complacent, so that when we look at examples and we don't find any that we find impressive, we're always like, are we too complacent? Are we full of ourselves?
No, but that's the beauty of Armenia also, being small and being able to be very flexible and having those opportunities.
And Armenians will tell you when you're doing something wrong. Keep you humble.
That's right.
Yes.
That's right.
Yes.
I remember when TFA, as you both know very well, had our first office at TUMO, thanks to both of you and to Sam and Silva. And I remember taking my first cab there to, go to work, to work on Teach for Armenia. And this driver was like, "Oh, what is this? It's like a kid place, right?" And I'm like, "Yeah, it's an after school program for children and technology." And he's like, "Yeah, I just heard it is so expensive to go to TUMO." And I was like, "Oh, it's actually free." It's actually free. And he's like, "There's no way. There has to be something. There's a catch, And when I think about that drive that I took with this cab driver, and I think about where we are now, all these years later, it's been more than 15 years. It's incredible just to hear you say these things about what TUMO is doing and what the thinking is and what possibilities we see in our system and our outside of our system, for our country. So yeah, I'm so grateful, honestly, and I'm just so excited. And I think we as Teach for Armenia can also learn so much from that. There's a lot of work to do in our public schools, but I can say that there is, again, like Marilo, you said something important. I think there is an openness. I think something is boiling.
Yes,
I can't fully put my finger on it, but all these things are at some point going to join together. We're in this 405 Education Alliance that we co-created together, and some of that was like impossible to conceptualize, just a few years ago. So I think a lot of that is happening, and I just want to thank you for the work that you're doing. And some of my last questions for you, I really want to go a little personal, if that's okay with you.
Sure.
So you're married.
Yes.
For those,
how many years? We cannot count anymore.
Lots. So many decades.
You have 5 children. You've built incredible organizations together, over the span of many decades now. And I mean, for people that don't know, TUMO has how many? Just in Armenia, you have like 600 staff members.
Yes,
it's a massive.
More than 700 now.
Close to 800.
Okay, so 800 staff. Oh yeah, when you told me that number, we were sitting in a layover in Frankfurt, and so clearly that was a couple of years ago, and it's grown. And you have all these international centers. How do you, as entrepreneurs, deal with that? I mean, it's hard, and when working anywhere is difficult, but managing such a large institution. I mean, I think we can say it's an institution at this point. Like, how do you deal with that? How do you make it sustainable? Because that's a question I get a lot, and I think people want to know.
Because we grew up together, and because we supported each other along all these years, and on the top of it, for us having 5 kids, bringing them to Armenia, understanding what Armenia is, and wanting to give back the same way we wanted to raise our kids. Suddenly we have all these kids that are our kids.
Thousands of them.
Yes. And because at the same time, yes, we are husband and wife, and yes, we got married, and yes, we had the kids. But at the same time, we supported each other all along equally. Like when Pegor was going to MIT, I was working and I was doing my master's. When I wanted to do my master's in education, he supported me and he took care of the kids while I was in New York. So there was always this partnership and friendship, very strong friendship together, and respect that helped us always be equal. Like I remember when we moved to Armenia, and our housekeeper told me, "But your husband is changing diapers." I said, "Yes, of course. What's wrong?" She said, "But no, husbands here or men here don't change diapers."
Real men.
Real men. I guess you're not a real man. Right?
Don't change diapers. I said, "What?" We grew up like that. It was always underlaying respect and relationship, to respect each other's careers, to build it together, to support each other. Now, Pegor is is more into AI, and I'm sometimes more into other things. So we divide.
You complement each other.
Yes, we divide our roles. We make sure that we always know what the other is doing, respect it. We bring a lot of work home.
I was going to ask you, is there
There isn't.
But I mean, is there such a thing as work-life balance?
No. If you like it, and if that's your life, you cannot just separate it.
Yeah.
I don't like that term work-life balance because it sounds like work is death, I guess.
Yeah,
if it's
you're
not
kind of dead most of the day.
That's not how you
Or you do it just to make money.
Right. So you're working just to support. So no, yeah, for us, it's completely
The same.
indistinguishable. It's the same. It's integrated.
Sometimes, of course, it goes beyond the limits, but still, like, for example, now we're going on vacation and we're both thinking, wow, that's the opportunity when we're going to do this and that and that.
Wait, you guys told me before we started recording that you're going to disconnect, no?
Yeah, we disconnect for a few hours. Okay. We go to the beach. But
I think it's a privilege to be able to work on things you love at the beach.
Right.
Or think about
that doesn't mean you don't enjoy the beach.
Not the problems, but the things you never get to do while you're in the middle of the everyday operations. So it gives us a setback to look at things we achieved, what we need to achieve, in which direction we're going, what we want, how we're that's and because we really. Probably we're nerds. I don't know.
Yeah, you guys are nerds. I say that in the most loving way.
For us, it's so much satisfaction. So we at the end of the day, you're running your life. You want to do things that gives you satisfaction. Yes, maybe someone else gets satisfaction from going out at night. Our satisfaction is creating something new,
while we're going out at night,
or at the beach in the middle of nowhere,
or with our family,
or with the family. Yes,
your kids are supporting TUMO too now,
yes.
right? I think one of your sons is involved.
Our oldest son Vahakan, after years of a successful career, finally was able to say yes. And come joined us as our head of product engineering. But they have a rule, our kids, no TUMO talk. But we always break it. They break it too. But sometimes one of them will remind them, no TUMO talk.
Yes. That's great. I mean, I think you guys have built such a great team amongst yourselves, obviously with your kids and then with this incredible movement that you've built. When you think about the next 10 years as partners, as the people behind TUMO, what do you see?
Well, for us, what we're obsessed over is building an institution that can perpetuate itself and not be dependent on a specific leader. Right now, we're super involved in everything, and that's not sustainable in the 10 to 20 years time frame. So we're working very hard, and we've made a lot of progress. We have a very strong team, especially leadership team.
Together with our staff, but we also reflected a lot on what are the most important values that we think that will help them, our staff, to be guided and continue and have a vision. So it's not like by talking theory, but also, for example, if one of our values is learners first, what does that mean? Mm-hmm. And always using the examples. And even if when they don't put learner first, how should we give them examples and make sure that they understand what we mean by learners first? What does it mean, accountability, or those are part of our values, or details? Why is it important? Why do we pay a lot of attention to details. That's very fundamental. You can have a result, but if you do not give a lot of importance to the details of how you got things done and why you got these things done this way, at the end, there is nothing that you're relying on to guide you. So those are things that we have created together, but it will take time to not, I don't mean by training, but to put it in the DNA of every staff member, which is maybe for us throughout the years living together and working together and challenging ourselves in every situation. We were indirectly we were able to do it, but we understood that those were the things that made us who we are today. And we want to transfer those and guide and help understand. Of course, at the end of the day, they can embrace it or not, but if we want to, and I think those who work at TUMO, there are all kinds of staff members, but those who come, they do not come for their salaries, they do not come for it, they come for the vision, they come for the details, they want to learn. Some leave because they want to build something from
which is fine.
Which is fine, yes. It's healthy.
Yeah.
And I learned, I take it sometimes very personal and it hurts me, but then I learned, and lately Vahakan, our oldest son, was saying, that's one of the accomplishments you have, and you have to be proud of it. And it's true. It hurts, but it's true. It's like your kid leaving you.
I get it.
Yeah.
We had many actually former staff members come to our 10-year anniversary a couple of weeks ago, and it was really nice to see them. You know, it hurt sometimes,
yes.
but they've gone on to do really great things. And I think, you know, a lot of what they learned was also at TFA, not only, but
yes.
I think when I think about the staff we've developed, not just through our programs, but specifically by building a new nonprofit culture in Armenia, I think that's, you know, we've contributed in our own small way to that. I think TUMO is, with 800 staff members, is on a different level, but it's important. It's important because nonprofits have not operated that way in Armenia for many years. And I think you all have set a new standard of how social impact can work in our country and beyond.
And if they carry those values, I think they will be also ambassadors and the people who will transfer those values to others and to the community,
Absolutely.
Which is very, very important. So it's impacting on every level. I remember when we were building TUMO, the contractors were asking me like, are you crazy? How many times do you do sample and you try and you think and you demolish? These are just kids. Whatever you give them,
they'll be happy.
They will be happy. And we kept saying, no, we need to build a place and content that the students will feel that we respected them and we considered them adults. And that will be a very nice relationship between our student and us. We respect them, they respect us. That's why you don't have a lot of, almost none, of vandalism, because they respect what
it's
you
their
give.
place.
Yes.
It's their home.
Yes.
Thank you so much both for being here. Thank you for everything you're doing. And we have a lot of work ahead of us. But I feel, as you said, Pegor, very honored to be in this work together with you. And I'm really excited to see where our country is in the next 10 years.
Thank you.
Thank you.